Hi guys, going to do a blog on OC again. I'm trying to do a series of blogs going backwards and forwards between DCA and OC. I'm trying to establish a link of where these credit notes are that we keep asking for. Now, as you've seen in part 1, DCA has categorically told me that they didn't have the original credit note. And then also being back to OC, and OC wouldn't provide them with the details to be able to collect on the debt. So let's go to now and see what we can find out at OC. This might not click up something, but it's part of an ongoing investigation. There's going to be some future paperwork coming out at CA3 to negate this. And 2, I just want to put the fear of God into them. Let's see what the original creditor has got to say about his missing paperwork. Okay, let's go for it. Dial.
Just so you know, we sometimes record these calls for training and quality purposes.
I'm Joe speaking.
Hello, did you say John?
Oh, it's Joe.
Joe. Hiya, Joe. Hi, Joe. I've got a scenario for you. I hope you can help me deal with. I had an account with yourselves some time ago, and I put that account into dispute because I believe misrepresentation was taking place with the account. Okay. You since sent that account to various debt collection agencies, of which I furnished them with the same paperwork. Those debt collection agencies wrote back to yourselves, Shop Direct Finance Company Limited. They wrote back to yourselves asking for you to provide them with the documentation so that they could collect on a debt that you sold them. Now, what I'm trying to establish where that documentation is, because DCA don't seem to have that, the debt collection agencies, and they've, as I said, come through to yourselves and asked for the documentation. So if I can give you some reference numbers, and maybe you could have a look for me.
I can have a look, yeah. I can't guarantee I'll find it, though, because I work in the complaints team and it's not my part really, but I'll try my best for you.
Well, do you want to pass me to somebody that could, or?
Well, if you've got a complaint reference number, I can check and see where you're up to, and then if I can't help, then I'll pass you on board.
Well, I've got the original account number.
Give me one moment. Right, I can see there was a debt sold on the 18th of April.
Yeah.
14, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you just want to know where that documentation was that was supposed to be passed on to the debt collection agency.
Yeah, I want to know where that the documentation is. I also need to know why nobody can provide the lawful agreement that was agreed upon. I'm wondering at what point has that paperwork gone missing from yourselves. I'd like to know the mechanics of what happens within your system when we go into when people go into default.
You just give me 2 minutes, and what I'll do is I'll contact the collections team and ask them if there's anything they can provide you with now. Is that okay?
Well, I've already spoken to them.
Spoken to the debt collections team?
Yeah, Lowell.
No, sorry, I mean the Shop Direct in-house debt collections team.
Okay, yeah, that would be great.
They probably most likely going to have this documentation for you if they will create it before it gets sent over.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, that's right. I believe you're after some kind of documentation. What was it you actually required?
Well, I want to know where the lawful documentation is that should accompany that credit. As I say, I put a dispute in with the account because, for my reasons, I believe misrepresentation was taking place on the account. As I say, you then pass that over to some debt collection agencies, and the debt collection agencies have got in contact with you, yourselves, for that documentation so they could make claim upon myself, but you didn't have that documentation.
So which documentation is it in particular you require?
Well, I'd like to see the original credit note. I'd like to see the original lawful terms and conditions. But essentially, for the DCA, the debt collection agency, to collect on that debt, they're going to need the original contract, the original credit agreement. And nobody wants to provide that to me.
I can give you certain details, obviously, or you can raise a complaint, but when you say we have to send an agreement with debt for them to be able to pursue it, that's actually incorrect. The laws have changed with regards to credit agreements, and you can either supply the only time you need a credit agreement as such is if you wish to go taken to court. So if you wanted to take the person and cover it, something at that point you would actually need the credit agreement. Now at that point you can either do it one of two ways. You can either do a signed agreement or a reconstituted agreement. Now a reconstituted agreement was sent to Lowell.
Yep, a photocopy.
You must send, in fact, always have to send it to yourself.
Can I just...
Can I just... Is that correct?
Say again, sorry?
2014. A signed reconstituted agreement was sent to yourself, is that correct, in March 2014?
I've had no agreement from yourselves, you sent me nothing. But can we just frame a reconstitutional agreement? What you're saying there is a photocopy, aren't you?
Well, the agreement is a copy of the agreement that you would have signed at the time the account was taken out, and that's actually gone through the courts.
It's gone through the courts?
Yeah, there has actually been a court case, which is why it's now you can actually send a reconstituted agreement. Actual laws change, and so you can supply a reconstituted agreement now.
So you're telling me that? Can you tell me which court that it's gone to?
I can try and find the relevant court case just for a moment.
So can I just clarify something? So let me get this straight. If that agreement then is needed to take somebody to court, yeah, why are you selling debts without that agreement?
We have sent a reconstituted.
Reconstituted, but that isn't enough to. That's not enough to claim a lawful right. A lawful claim, is it? Though a reconstituted agreement.
Signed on a reconstituted agreement is relevant. You can send.
Well, if it's relevant, why did this?
Or a reconstituted. Now, it is not our decision how Lowell whether they wish to pay that account court or not. So to then make that decision.
Well,
we have a signed or a reconstituted agreement. Is it relevant when it comes to actually chasing somebody for the debt? Whether we have a signed or a reconstituted agreement or not, can still be pursued for the debt.
Pursued though. You're using the word pursued. Pursued.
You can be chased for the debt, and it can also be registered on your credit file. However, if neither of those documents are available, then you cannot be, basically you can't have a CCJ or anything like that registered against you. But doesn't mean you don't hold the debt, you can be pursued for it.
Well, I agree with that, but Lowell or the collection agencies that you've sent it have zero balance the account, have written the account off because you haven't provided them with the documentation that they needed to make the claim. You call that a reconstituted agreement, and you say that reconstituted agreement is with the courts. That's still to me, that just tells me that you've applied for a CCJ with a photocopy. Now, what my original question to you was, where is the original paperwork? Not a photocopy, not a reconstituted agreement, but the original documentation. I need to verify that original documentation. I need to see. You've got a financial instrument out there with my name floating on it.
So you've seen a signed agreement. That's what you asked before. A signed agreement, is that correct?
You're telling me I've seen I haven't seen anything from you. You know, when I wrote to OC yourselves.
You need to speak to our complaints team, but I can see that our complaints team requested a copy of the agreement back in March 2014. At that point, there wasn't a signed agreement available, but there was a reconstituted agreement which was supplied to them. You would need to speak to, obviously, the complaint team to see.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, isn't it?
Finish for 1 second. But at no point of actually level asked us for a copy of the reconstituted agreement, at which point they could have actually supplied them with that. But obviously, if they've made a decision to write off the debt, then obviously that is their decision.
Yeah, but they've made that. I spoke to Ashley at DCA. They've made the decision because they couldn't get the lawful paperwork from you to make that claim. They would have made that claim if they could have got. Now you keep telling me about reconstituted agreements, and you're saying to me a photocopy. That's what you're saying to me.
The original, that is the law. We had him supply a copy of the original agreement, plus any changes to the current terms and conditions, i.e. a final agreement. Now, we have those documents, but looking at the system, level hasn't asked us for them. If they have, we would have supplied them with them. So
you have still in your company the original documentation?
There's nothing quick. It counts as a lot. I'd have to have a look.
And let me be clear, I'm not talking about a reconstituted agreement. You have the original documentation. Because if that's what you're telling me, what I'll do now is I'll put a SAR in and request.
I haven't confirmed that at any point. I've advised you we didn't have a copy of the agreement available. However,
why didn't you have that though? Why didn't you have that documentation though? That's what I'm trying to get at. Why haven't you got the original documentation? Because that worries me.
Obviously, I'm unaware of why we wouldn't have it.
Well, it worries me because you've got a financial instrument with my name floating on about it, and you can't tell me where that property is. Well, that property belongs. That belongs. That can I, as I said, he says to me, can I just finish? That property belongs to me and the other signature. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. Can you tell me your mechanics of what happens with that? I'll tell you why I asked you that question, because I've got a sneaky suspicion that financial instrument, that original credit agreement, has been packaged into a financial instrument and claimed on a default notice. Would you agree?
It's been what, sorry?
I believe that original credit agreement has been repackaged into financial instruments sold on to investment companies, and at default notice I believe that original credit agreement has been claimed on in the insurance. Can you confirm that?
No, I can't confirm that. You would need to speak to somebody else who's actually able to answer that question. I'm not able to answer that.
Do you know who that would be?
Yeah, I can actually see if there's somebody available.
Just before you see if somebody is available, when you last question to you, you said that you sent a reconstituted agreement to the courts.
Sorry, I didn't say we sent anything.
That's what you said to me, mate. You said that a copy of that agreement had gone off to the court.
No, I didn't say that. No, I thought this call's been recorded.
Pardon?
And this call's recorded. I didn't say that at any point to the
Yeah, and the phone call is recorded. It's recorded both ways.
I didn't say our complaints team requested a copy of the agreement back in March 2014.
So, can I just ask you to speak up a little bit? Sorry, I'm struggling to hear you. Go on. Finish what you were saying, sorry.
I said, yeah, our complaints team requested a copy of the agreement in March 2014 when they were dealing with a complaint, and we did send them a copy of the reconstituted agreement for that point. Yeah,
that's what you sent to DCA, but you were talking about the court, wasn't you, initially, when you were talking about the court? You said that a copy had gone to the court.
No, I didn't say that at all.
Oh, okay, let's move.
We don't see people, we don't deal with courts.
No, I know you don't deal with courts. I know that you use the debt collection agencies to deal with the courts. But as I say, I've been through to the debt collection agency, and I say they wrote the debt off. But they wrote that debt off for one reason, and the reason is that they've requested the original documentation to make a claim. That they can't make a claim upon me in court if they haven't got the original documentation. And it worries me now that between both of yous are both making a claim against myself, but both of yous cannot provide me with the original contract. Do you not see that? I can't just go make false representation to anybody and just say, well, I've got a photocopy in my hand. This proves everything. So,
a bit confused on what you want as an outcome of the call, because if you spoke at the level who's got the debt and they've actually written the accounts off, which is what you're saying, and surely if they've written the accounts off, they're not suing you anywhere. I can't understand.
You can't understand why I'm making this claim for the original credit now. Because as I said originally, I made the dispute. I put the dispute in because I believe either fraud or misrepresentation is taking place within the credit industry. That's why I'm making this account. That's why I'm making this account. That's why I'm making these logs. Because now, as I state here, I want to know where my credit note is, because that both of you can't or are unwilling to provide me with anything more than a photocopy, and a photocopy is just not good enough. I couldn't turn up to your house with a photocopy of your logbook on your car and assume that I could walk away with it. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I'm saying if it's depends what you wanted back before, but if you're saying you don't believe there's been ever an original copy existing, and obviously by all means I think like you speak to somebody else who will actually be able to answer that with regards to the claim of fraud and misrepresentation, but I would need to transfer you through to them.
Yeah, if you will do then, please. Sorry, what was your name?
My name's John.
John, thanks for your time, John. You've been great.
All right, no problem.
Bye-bye. You have a great day.
And you. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Dirty bastard. See, guys, I do swear. No.
It's okay. Well, the best way for me to do that is to explain it, fix the complaint straight away for you. Okay, and I'll put into the complaint exactly what it is, why it or what you're actually aware of. Right.
Yeah. So.
If I just get at this point as bullet points, if you could tell me exactly what the explain to have.
Yep. Okay, so you basically want to know what I want to know. Basically, I would like to know where the original agreement is. And I need to see a verifiable copy of that agreement, and not what was the word you used?
It's called a reconstituted.
A reconstituted. So I need.
Want the original.
I want to see a verifiable copy of the original, if that's possible. Now that could be a photograph of the original documentation. I need to see on that documentation. I need to see both our signatures to constitute a contract. And I'd like to see the accounting around that credit note as well.
When you say, you just explain a bit more, when you say accounting, do you mean how it's done, where it's stored, how it's kept?
Yep. I want to know who provided the credit in the first place. Then, as I said, I want to know where that credit note is right now. I want to know, where it's sat, who owns it. Because a credit agreement is a valuable instrument. It's it's worth money, and that agreement has got my name out there, and I believe that agreement is being traded.
Credit agreement is a valuable instrument. So what I want to do, I want to put it in correct wording for yourself. The credit agreement is a valuable instrument, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just trimmings. I just need to know where the documentation is, who's got it, and the accounting surrounding that documentation. Because I believe that if either of you companies are going to make a lawful claim upon me, that you should have the original contract. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, again, like I said, I'm not the person to answer that question. However,
no, I'm not asking you as a representative of your company, but wouldn't you agree in life that if somebody was going to make a claim upon somebody else, that they would need to provide a valid contract? Now, as we've seen with a DCA, a reconstituted contract is not a valid contract. It's just a copy of a contract. A bit in the same way people sell copied games. It's not the original, is it?
I can understand what you're saying. Obviously, there is the fact that you've been making payments, etc. You've got an account history with us,
yep.
Which again could be deemed as a contract where you've been ordering goods, making payments, and you can accept the liability for those goods by doing so.
Yeah.
But again, that's what I need is our compliance team to look into these individual points for you, and obviously they will respond on those individual points. And if you're not happy, then obviously you can raise a matter further. I think in this instance it's just important to make sure we verify all these points that you've raised, and obviously we'll get back to you by that method in the week. Official then it has been long.
Okay, can you just add one caveat to that list?
Yeah.
I'd also like to see the original copy of the deed of assignment between your company, the DCA, and the Debt Collection Agency, and myself.
Right, I would need to contact Lowell in that instance, because Lowell actually send out deed of assignment.
No, they send out notice of assignment. Again, we're in the same territory as in with your contract. A deed is the original. A notice is not the original. It's just a copy. Again, which is what seems to be going on here, is people are flashing up copies of things and not original documentations. Now, I need to see the original documentation, of the deed of assignment. And if you've got one, novation.
You want the original copy of the deed of assignment?
I want to see an original copy of the assignment, yes. Signed by all parties.
So are you saying that you've not received that from Lowell?
No, I've received no. I received a letter which is called a notice of assignment. That's just them saying that they've taken over your debt and that you've taken over their debt. Now that's a notice of assignment. Now there must be a deed to back that up at your side and at Lowell's side. Now, as I say, if you're going to make claims upon myself, you need to do that with the original format, not notices. I don't want photocopies of things. I want see the original documentation. That's, as I say, I believe that, the reason I put the claim in is because I believe that representation is being made, false representation is being made on these accounts. If I didn't believe false representation was being made on the accounts, I would be still paying you. But the fact is that I did, and that's only highlighted by the fact that none of yous will put up the original documentation. and when asked to put up the original documentation, you prefer to write off the debts than actually put up a lawful claim.
Yeah,
that's worrying to me.
Yeah,
that's worrying to me. That's worrying to thousands and thousands of families across Britain.
Yeah, why Level have actually done that, I do not know. I can query that with Level. So as I said, the Constitution agreements are available. However, again, that's something we can pick up with Level.
You keep saying the agreements are available, but the agreement that is available is the photocopy, reconstituted.
Which has been deemed acceptable within the public.
It might be acceptable for you to lodge a CCJ, but it's not acceptable for you to make a claim.
I've got all your points. What I'll do, I'll get that raised today.
Can you just raise the points again?
And I'll get all raised them directly. Presumably it's still at the 39 Hillburn Road, is that correct?
What? No, that's not correct.
Correct. No, I'm just going to be... post or email contact.
Say again?
Would you prefer the response by post or by email?
I'd prefer it post. Can I just give you, just so that you're on notice, and can you put that on your phone? I'll give you 10 days to comply with that.
Well, again, I'll put on the form it's 10 days. Any complaints we have, I think it's 10 weeks to reply to any complaints. However, I will put a note on there.
Yeah, I understand what your rules and regulations are, but you need to understand what my rules and regulations are. I'm going to give you 10 days to make representation on that. If you want to do it late, that's up to you. But I've said what's required of me. Yeah, can you just then reiterate what I've asked then, and then we can round this call up?
Yeah, you want to know where the original agreement is. You want the original, you don't want a copy of the original.
Yeah.
You want the obviously to be eligible and readable, so you want the original.
Yeah.
You want to know the accountancy side of it, who provided the actual credit in the first place. You want to know where the credit report actually gone, because we're going to have it on file.
Yeah.
You stated the credit agreement is a valuable instrument.
Yeah.
You want to see the original copy of the deed of assignment, and you do not want to see a copy of the note of assignment which has been sent.
Yeah.
Also, you said the false representation being made on the accounts. I like the fact that all copies, all the documentation is copied and not the originals, and we request response within 10 days.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. But just the last thing, when I say to you, I want a copy of the, when I want the original, I want a copy, a verifiable copy of the original. Can you just add that? I know you cannot send me the original. I understand that, but I want to see a verifiable copy of the original signed by both parties.
Okay. Yeah, that's thanks for you.
Okay, John, thanks for your time. You have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay. John, by the way, you want to start researching credit. It's not what it seems to be, my friend. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.